Greetings and salutations, Series 7 test takers. This is Series 7 Guru coming in from my studio here in fabulous Las Vegas with another explication request on margin. Don't overdose on margin. 3 or 4 questions, pretty straightforward. This one certainly is not. So you always want to be able to do in a margin question what's called the initial setup. And then you want to be able to do a mark to market. That's what, margin clerks do. And one of the reasons it's not that big a deal on the test because we have margin clerks and computers are pretty damn good at this. But let's do our initial setup. It says we have 2 positions. We have one position of 5,000 and we have another position of 6,000. And it tells us, it gives us the ledger entry. It says that we owe the broker dealer presently $5,000. And so what we're going to do is do our initial setup based on this scenario. Debit register, debit balance is what you owe the brokerage firm. We love loaning customers money, so we always want to see if perhaps we can't loan you more money. So the initial setup is going to be $11,000 in long market value. You should definitely know the classical margin equation. The classical margin equation is market value minus debit equals equity. So you should definitely know the classical margin equation. So what I'm doing now, again, is my initial setup. And we'll put that there. And so as it stands right now, we have equity of $6,000. What I always want to do is compare the equity you have with Reg T. I want to see if perhaps I can't loan you more money. And so as a broker dealer, as I said, it's one of our all-time favorite things to do. So what I'm going to do is compare, that to Reg T. Reg T on this account is 5,500. That is Reg T, which is 50% of the market value. So boom, we compare that and I say, hey, you have excess equity. You have $500 more than you need. Now, if I told you if you didn't use it today, you would lose access to it. You might use it in a way that's not in your best interest. So we're going to go ahead and make a special memorandum to your account that you have excess equity, SMA. They're not actually the same thing, but for test purposes, I wouldn't cause you to miss anything. And again, my guess is probably this is a past perfect question because they just love these hellacious margin questions. Let's see. So boom. So that's my initial setup. So now it says that the one of the stock positions is now trading for $60 a share, ABC. And so ABC was 5,000. And they're telling me now it's a $60 stock. And so now what I have to be able to do is I have to be able to do my mark to market. So what I'm going to do is figure out how many shares this is. Now we're making assumptions of, if I could talk to the guy who wrote this question, I would say, I'm not so sure that, So I'm going to divide by what it formerly was, which was, they told me it was a $20 stock. And so I find out that's 250 shares. And now they tell me that this ABC stock goes to $60 a share. So now I'm going to take the 250 times the $60 a share. And let me get my calculator because my arithmetic is terrible. So 250 times 60 is 15,000. And so the 15 plus the 6, that's my new long market value. So I'm going to have now when I do my mark, I'm going to have 21,000 in long market value. You still owe the brokerage firm $5,000. That's our debit register. We still owe that to the brokerage firm. And so now, boom. Your equity goes up. I think the best analogy is like a house, right? The value of your house minus the mortgage on the house equals equity. So if the market value of your house or the market value of your brokerage account goes up, so will your equity. And so now we have 21 minus that, we have $16,000 in equity. And as we said, we always want to see if perhaps we can't loan you more money because that's one of our all-time favorite things to do. So again, what I'm going to do is compare that $16,000 to the 50%, right? To see if you have excess equity. What is that excess equity number? So let me give me some more space here. Well, I don't want to do that. I'll just go over it. So anyways, we're going to compare that. Half of the 21 is now 10.5. So let's put that there. And this is where I think, again, kind of being a jerk of customer, that's Reg T 50% of the market value. And we're always seeing it, perhaps we can't loan you more money, which, as I said, that's one of our all-time favorite things to do. Now, here's where I think our test taker made a mistake. The answer, it says, what is the aggregate, keyword aggregate, SMA entry? So they're not asking how much it went up, which was $5,000. That wasn't the question. You don't get a double entry, by the way. You only get credit for your high water mark. And the high water mark here is 5,500. And the question the question being asked wasn't, the question they asked was, what is the aggregate SMA? That means, what is the new entry? Because again, this is going to go bye-bye. Every day is a new day. So as a margin clerk, this goes poof, right? And that goes poof because every day is a new day. And so the answer is 5,500. Now, had the question said, what is the increase? It would have been 5, but that wasn't the question. The question was, what is the aggregate SMA? And it's 5,500. So hope you found that helpful. Remember, inch by inch, your Series 7's a cinch, yard by yard, your Series 7 is hard.